Hi, and welcome back to Two Bears Trekking. Today we are going to be doing the first monthly update on our 120-day challenge.
Woohoo!
So stay tuned. All right, so this is day 28 in our 120-day.
Time just keeps ticking.
Our last minute cruise deal's dead. I'm not sure, but I do have a little bit of an inkling, but I'm not going to share it with you quite yet. So,
no. Now, how are we going to go about this? Because is it just going to be an update, or what are we going to do?
Yeah, so what we're going to do in these monthly updates is we're going to talk about sort of where we are and what we found, and have we added any options to the list, and what things were kind of outside of the time frame that we may have already talked about in our weekly short updates, or maybe that we haven't. And these are some great deals. I'm about to give you a couple of great deals that we haven't given you in shorts. Now they've passed,
Right?
but they're a great example of why you should be subscribed and be watching our videos and our shorts.
There you go.
Okay. And then the second part of this is going to be, we're going to talk about a topic that is important in this whole process. And that is, when is the best time to cruise and find a last minute deal, or any deal?
Are there better times than others?
And I'll give you a hint. The answer is yes. So
Yes.
stick around.
There you go.
All right. So for the first part of that, this is day 28. And this process is a daily process. Checking rates, because rates can change daily. Cruise lines can have flash sales that only last a day. And I've said that before. So I'm going to come straight out, because we haven't talked about this one before, but Royal Caribbean had a flash sale over last weekend, which doesn't happen often. A lot of times they're weekday sales, but this one was a weekend sale. Rates as low as $136 per person. Now, you had to be a senior. Royal Caribbean, that's 55, at least one person in the cabin, 55 years or older. And in total, and then with the special onboard credit promotions that Priceline through World Travel Holdings had going, you could get this well under $100 for two people.
There you go.
For the 4-night sailing per night. It's insane. Pricing I haven't seen in a while, so I was very shocked to see those. Unfortunately, they fell outside of our challenge.
That's what I was going to ask. Why didn't we jump on one of these?
Yes, these were all basically November sailings. So you gotta keep an eye out there all the time and be on top of those. The other sailings, we saw some reductions on transatlantic sailings, further reductions in October and November. And then we also saw MSC come out with a flash sale on their sailings out of New York on the Meraviglia. And those were for sailings from October really through, I think, the end of January. And those varied in price, but many sailings, many sailings, both Canada, New England, and Bahamas and Caribbean, all under that target of $100. The only one that, and I think we said in our short, $100.10 after we did all the math, per night for two people for the 11-night sailing departing January 15th. So that is within our parameters, and so that is option number one. That is officially we're gonna do this like a house hunters.
There you go. There you go. House cruise whatever number one. Yes, option number one.
Option number one, and we're hoping to get a couple of more.
Yes,
and we'll announce on December 30th which one we chose.
Yes, there you go. Something to look forward to.
All right, so that brings us to the question of, when is the best time to sail? When is the cheapest time to sail?
Well, let's start with, when is the worst time to sail? How about that?
Yes, well, that's an easy one.
Yes.
That is during the summer. June, July, August.
Yes.
The worst time.
Well, because kids are all off. Everyone's available. That's when you could.
Right. The weather's good.
The weather's good. There's no tropical storms. So everyone wants to cruise.
Yes, and you can still find some deals. This past summer, there were some Alaska deals that came up on Celebrity. But we'll talk in a future video why it's a little bit difficult, depending on itinerary and also length of cruise sometimes, to find those amazing deals.
Right. Okay.
All right. So we said the summer.
Summer is just forget it unless you have to.
So we're gonna talk about these with respect to two different criteria. One, how do they rank with the volume or the number of available last minute deals or cheap deals during each time? And then also the discount. So how low
can you go?
Do they go?
Yes.
What are the times where they go the cheapest prices?
Right. Okay.
So I'm going to say for volume.
Okay. So this is the amount that's available.
The sheer number of sailings available at a discount, particularly at last minute,
right,
are going to be in October, September, and October.
There you go.
And that is because kids are back in school. They don't really have any vacation time. Snowbirds haven't headed south yet,
right.
So they're not quite in Florida. Mediterranean's still cruising, and the Alaska sailing is in its shoulder season, as is Bermuda. It's hurricane season. So all those things together, there are a lot of sailings that get discounted at the last minute during September and October.
So keep your eyes open during that time.
Yes. As far as price, it ranks number 2.
Ooh.
Yep.
So there's a better time price-wise to cruise.
There is.
Okay. Well, what would that be?
Well, you won't have to. Right.
Oh, you're going to make me wait. That's just all
No,
unfair.
you don't have to stick around very long to find that out, because the number 1 for price is generally during that November-December timeframe, and particularly the first couple of weeks of November, and then after Thanksgiving into the first couple of weeks of December.
So it's because of the holidays and how the holidays fall
in
and
between
people...
the holidays.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that is generally the cheapest. The less desirable transatlantic sailings are during that time, and so those are very deeply discounted. And then your Caribbean sailings and etc., and some of your Mediterranean sailings that are lingering, those are all deeply discounted. And you see lots of deep discounts on those last minute sailings, like the ones I mentioned at the beginning of the video on Royal Caribbean.
There you go.
Now, that particular time of year is the second best as far as volume.
Oh.
So you see how those two flip. So while there are deeper discounts during that November-December timeframe, not as many options available because ships have repositioned already, and fewer options.
Right.
All right, let's take a quick break. Remind you to like, share, subscribe, because we have lots more information coming, and you want to make sure. Sometimes we just put shorts out there with some great deals.
So if you're not watching the shorts, you may not get some of the deals that come out. So
exactly. All right. So let's move on. So what is the third best time? And in these last two, they're third and fourth, the same in each of the respective two categories. So the third most plentiful number of deals and the third best price deals come in the January to early February timeframe.
And that would be because you got the snowbirds down there.
Snowbirds are down there, so a little bit more demand.
Right. The holidays are gone.
So kids aren't vacationing.
Right.
It's before the winter vacation.
Right. So what are the other reasons, you think?
So there's less demand, but there are more people positioned, and you don't have any repositioning cruises going. So ships are all kind of settled. A lot of ships are down in the southern hemisphere or out in the South Pacific, Asia, South Pacific, that time of year, which to me, really a good last minute deal isn't valid or viable for somebody in North America. Right. Once you add that airfare.
Well, yeah, the airfare is the key there. Absolutely.
Right. You can get cheap one-ways to or from Europe to do those transatlantics, but most of those transatlantics are gone and done.
Right, because they're repositioned. Yeah.
Exactly. So fewer volume and third best price because people are looking to escape the winter, so they don't have to discount as deeply. I'll give you a great example. I mentioned MSC's flash sale, and the option number one we put on the list because it met all of the criteria, was base price of $329 for that 11-night MSC sailing. Basically, a comparable MSC sailing in October for 11 nights was $299 base.
Okay.
Okay. So you can see that price difference does actually exist. So third best time for volume and price is that January to beginning of February.
There you go. Okay.
And fourth and final.
Fourth and final.
is really sort of everything else. Sort of that last week in February, sometimes hit or miss April sailings that just aren't filling up, and the shoulder season in May. But very much restricted to places where it's cold, like the Mediterranean, Alaska, your early Bermuda season, and then your spring repositioning cruises. Those all tend to have either higher port charges or higher prices. Your spring repositioning, transatlantic, are usually a little bit more expensive than your falls. So you can see why in both volume and price, they come in fourth.
There you go.
1, 2, 3, 4. And that question comes up a lot.
Yes. And I think you gave some great information for it, especially if you're interested.
Yeah. So if you have any more questions, any more specific questions, but I think we covered the topic. And we're going to be continuing our weekly updates.
Yes.
So make sure you're subscribed for those. And in the meantime,
keep on trekking.